All right, we're live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we're going to look at how things are absolutely heating up in the Ethereum space. Despite what's going on with cryptocurrency prices right now, this is one of the craziest times where the price just seems to be, detached from the fundamentals in the opposite direction, where we're seeing a lot of crazy stuff happen in the ETH space right now that you need to pay attention to. And I'm going to talk about what that is in this video because we're seeing a lot of competition come up in this space. I'm super excited about this. All right, so we're talking about that. We're going to look at the cryptocurrency markets as well. Look at a lot of other news that's happened in the space since yesterday. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday on this channel. Just turn on notifications, subscribe to the channel. You'll find out about those whenever we go live. So before we get into that, if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Culture Highs. We got Automatic Bets. We got Anthony. We got Wendy, Emok, Sam, Mark. Welcome. All right, so we'll have more people roll in the chat here as the stream goes on. I'll welcome them as they roll in. So today I want to talk about pretty crazy competition that's heating up in the Ethereum space. So yesterday in the live stream, I think it was yesterday at least, I talked about how, layer 2 scaling is now here on Ethereum. We saw Optimism roll out for Uniswap, basically launching on top of this layer 2 scaling solution. Again, everybody's always complaining about Ethereum being too slow, too expensive to use, and they think we have to wait for ETH 2.0 to ship before that gets better. Well, we can fix that with layer 2 scaling, and basically we saw, this happen yesterday. So what I want to talk about is, ever since that happened, again, this is a huge moment where people are talking about it being Ethereum's broadband moment, where it goes from a dial-up to broadband and totally, enhances, or opens the door of possibilities for what you could do with blockchain. That's sort of the, first shot fired, so to speak, among the competitors who are trying to do the exact same thing. So after the Optimism announcement that Uniswap was live on Optimism, we did see this news come out from zkSync, all right, which is going to be a competing scaling solution for Ethereum. So basically what's happened is, now that we've launched this has been kind of the first person to actually bring this to market and on a really popular application. And we're seeing a response from this basically for competitors. I want to talk about that because this is a trend that's going to heat up, and we're going to see sort of which scaling paradigm ends up winning out in the long run. So basically, this is an article about zkSync. I won't read the entire article. I'll put a link to the tweet here in the chat there if you want to read about it. You can check this out yourself, but basically this is about zkSync, which is a zero knowledge based scaling solution. All right, so there's different types of layer 2 scaling solutions out there. There's optimistic rollups. All right, that's what Optimism is. There'll be competitors in that space, Optimism and Arbitrum. We're gonna have zero knowledge based rollups, which work differently from optimistic rollups. All right, you'll have competitors in that space, but they're all kind of compete with one another to try to capture a large part of the market share for this Ethereum scaling solutions. All right. And this is gonna be a battle, okay? Like this is gonna be pretty crazy. So here's the response. Basically, in a great article titled "Strong and Weak Technologies," all right, weak technologies adapt to the world as it currently exists, and strong technologies adapt to the world to themselves. Okay, so this is sort of their thesis on zkSync, and they're kind of talking about different scaling solutions in this way, basically saying like, the other scaling solutions that are out there for Ethereum right now are, inherently weaker technologies trying to adapt to this world that we have right now on Ethereum, but we're trying to build something that's actually better and that the world adapts to us in order to use it. Okay, so basically they're talking about the benefits of zkSync here compared to other solutions. So zkSync delivers the first general purpose open source EVM compatible zk rollup solution. So zero knowledge rollups, that's what I was talking about here. There's some benefits of zero knowledge rollups over optimistic rollups. The community knows this. We've talked about this. There's less trust involved with zero knowledge rollups versus optimistic rollups. There is some trust factors in that. We've kind of talked about that in this channel. Talked about that in the Uniswap Optimism video, which I am actually going to do a demo of that. If you want to find, I should be out tomorrow, actually. I'm gonna put out a demo that shows you how to use this layer 2 scaling solution. That's not getting as much attention as, I would think it would. And I think a lot of that's just because the hype's died down in the space. People are kind of bearish on the entire space because cryptocurrency prices are down. But this is an incredibly exciting time to be focused on what actually matters right now, which is this tech, which is probably going to lead the race for the next kind of major hype cycle that comes back in full force. So anyways, zkSync delivers the first general-purpose EVM-compatible zk rollup solution. So what's important there is EVM-compatible means whenever you write programs that go on top of an Ethereum network, you're using the EVM right now, okay? So that reduces the friction for deploying your application to multiple platforms. So as Ethereum was kind of slow and kind of expensive, we saw people take their apps and deploy them over to Polygon, right, or Matic, which is another EVM-compatible scaling solution. We saw them deploy to Binance Smart Chain, which is just a fork of Ethereum, so make this EVM-compatible. So if you can write a smart contract with like Solidity and compile it down and run it on the EVM, like the developers don't have to change really anything about their apps in order to take advantage of these. And so that's what they're saying. So they're talking about scaling to 3,000 transactions per second, 20,000 transactions with data off-chain. So like basically having speeds that we need to reach the next million users. Basically, we have cryptography is the strength of this technology, the future-proof scaling solution. Anyways, there's lots of different benefits that they talk about here, but this is what I'm saying. This is heating up, and this is the type of competition that's going to be battling out in the space. And I think that we're going to see some pretty crazy activity here as apps actually start moving over to this environment. And this is the time when I actually get really, really, really excited. All right, and this is like no hype. This is genuine excitement because everybody is like looking the other direction right now, putting their head in the sand because Ether price is falling, Bitcoin price is falling, all these altcoins are falling. But if you were here with me in 2020, watching on this channel, we saw like DeFi blossom and flourish and all these crazy incentives come into place where people were getting airdropped like 5 figures worth of cryptocurrency to their wallets for free just because they used an app. All these incentive programs, you could go put, cryptocurrency in these apps and get these crazy APYs way before anybody else could. And we're probably going to see a lot of that type of stuff happen again as these scaling solutions come out, okay? Because they're going to need incentives to get people off of the current chain onto their scaling solution. So we're probably going to see apps like launch onto them, start giving these crazy rewards out. You're probably going to see apps like competing with one another, trying to figure out, hey, which one do we want to use? Which one to support? And it's going to be this pretty big brawl that I can't wait for all this stuff to start heating up because this is where the puck is headed. And frankly, if you're watching this live stream, this will probably be like one of the underviewed videos on YouTube for all this type of stuff, simply because we focus more on the technology itself. But this is where a massive opportunity is going to be. And so I'm sort of just like licking my chops, like kind of waiting for this to happen. So let me know what you all think about this in the chat. We can actually check on the cryptocurrency prices here in a second, kind of give you my thoughts on the market. So your face in the photo is like a girl worried about his toys. So a girl worried about his toys. Awesome. Okay, so let's check on the crypto prices because like I said at the beginning of this video, I mean, 100% transparency here. The market's looking pretty bad. But to me, this is when I start getting excited, is when the market starts looking bad and there's a ton of awesome opportunity around the corner. Now, I'll be 100% honest with you. I mean, I'm feeling the pain of, this market correction, right? I've held on to my positions all throughout this, right? I'm not a super skilled trader. I'm not a super skilled, like, top collar, bottom collar. So, I mean, my whole thing is I'm staying in my positions because, I don't exactly know where the bottom of this is going to be. And there's a good chance that, I wouldn't buy back in because I would fail to find where the bottom was. I don't ever claim to be like a cryptocurrency price oracle on this channel and know exactly what the price is going to be by a certain date, call the next major moves. But I can tell you what I think about this market. So basically, I mean, stuff's looking pretty rough right now. So Bitcoin has been, making these lower lows. We had this sort of double bottom here. We came back up, another lower low, and now we're back down about to where this double bottom was. So, it's not looking good, okay? So basically, if I had to guess, all right, this is not financial advice. This is not like any firm prediction. I have a feeling we're going to break this level, right? We're probably going to go down below it, simply because we've been trying to make these, it's kind of been bouncing all the way down, right? You kind of see this bounce and it didn't really get the momentum. It's probably going to fall below this level. So I don't know how far. You know, $30,000 is a pretty strong psychological number. We'll see if it gets tested. We could go into the 20s. You know, I don't know. I would love to be proven wrong. I'd love to see some just consolidation around here and the kind of reversal of the trend. But you know, just with the sheer amount of momentum that's going on right now, I just don't see. I would be surprised if that happened, to tell you the truth. So. Yeah, like I said, love to be proven wrong. Love to be proven wrong on this one. But like I was saying, I mean, I'm super excited for everything that's heating up in the Ethereum space right now. And so we can also see that the ETH price in that regard is pretty detached with what's going on. But the thing you have to understand is all these prices right now typically are just responding to hype. You know what I mean? And hype around new technology. And the crazy thing is we are now creating the new wave of technology that people are going to get excited about. So the hype is, I guess what I'm saying is a lot of this bubblish price has been following the hype, and the hype is following sort of the leaps forward in technology, which happens in leaps and bursts. So we kind of had this big leap and burst of technology in 2020, and then we see this lagging indicator of hype that doesn't really come in full force until months and months and months later, all right? And the prices kind of follow that same direction. So, you know, of course, my long-term thesis on this channel has always been, as you have more, you know, benefit and use cases for cryptocurrency, you create more reason for people to hold them in the first place, okay? We're doing that with the technology, but we do also see hype around cryptocurrency. One of the use cases is financial speculation, and people know that speculators need hype in order to do that. And I guess what I'm saying is we now have the beginning of several big leaps forward in that, and also some trends to watch out for, you know, like scaling, like gaming, like metaverse, like all this stuff, more stuff with NFTs. It's pretty crazy. And that's why I get excited, because everybody else thinks that, you know, the game is over and the prices are just going lower, and they're just going to check out and they're going to miss it. That's where the opportunity comes in. So anyways, you know, with the ETH price, it's the same story. You know, I mean, the whole market's kind of just getting drugged down by just the bearish momentum. I don't know where that bottom's going to be. You know, long term, still bullish on ETH, like I was saying. I'm still comfy in my positions. It's painful. You know, I have to sit here and do these videos every day and watch the price. Trust me, I'd love to just go on a vacation and not think about the price for a while, but you know, here we are. See if I got any questions in the chat here. Somebody says there's no hype, dude. I guess you misunderstand what I'm saying. Is we're basically creating the technology that is generating the next wave of hype. So basically last year, the things that kicked off the sort of hype train, I mean, it was lots of things going for the crypto space. There was, you know, Bitcoin as a store of value, as an inflation hedge, as an institutional grade asset. We got Ethereum, we got DeFi, we got all this type of stuff. Particularly in the ETH space, you know, we had all that innovation happen. That you had all these sort of Ethereum killers come onto the scene and say, oh, well, we want to copy what ETH's doing and we can do it better. And that spun up all these narratives, right? So what I'm saying is ETH has always been a leader in this innovation, and now we have a major leap forward in this innovation that will likely cause a flurry of attention. I'll put it that way. Let's see here. So JavaScript or Python to learn first to understand Solidity easier. I would just do JavaScript, to tell you the truth, because you can. Here's why. It's a first language. I mean, there are a lot of people who fight about this, say they like Python better, they hate JavaScript. Here's why I say JavaScript, you can do more with it. You can, if you want to create a full stack application for your blockchain application, you're going to have to know JavaScript anyway. So instead of just like trying to learn 3 programming languages as a beginner, it's probably better to just learn 2. Okay, so let's look at something else that came up yesterday that I wanted to talk about. I think this can also be a pretty big deal for the next sort of like coming wave of hype and narratives and all that type of stuff. We did see this come up with ShapeShift turning into a DAO. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, ShapeShift is kind of like an OG crypto company. They've been around for a long time in the space. Eric Voorhees. And basically, they outlined their plan to turn into a decentralized autonomous organization, or a DAO. So what is that? Well, I've talked about DAOs on this channel and why I think they're such a big deal long term for this technology, because they fundamentally change how people organize in companies. I mean, crypto's kind of doing that in the first place. It's just changing how strangers can organize and interact with one another online, right? The trust minimization, right? All that type of stuff. Decentralization, all these themes. But I think DAOs can also really introduce novel ways of doing this too, where there'll be some failures with how we, some of these DAO experiments, will they fail? Of course they will. Will some of them succeed? I think so. And so basically what a DAO does is it takes any organization and makes it decentralized and governed by smart contracts, and it typically introduces like voting power with tokens, a lot like you would have shares in a company, the ability to vote that way. But basically you can just automate all that process and stick it on chain. You can put it on a blockchain. You know that people have tokens in their wallet and have that power to vote. You can do proposals, okay? And whenever you have those proposals, then basically anybody who has the tokens can vote on those proposals, and if they pass, they pass. Everything's automated. It's on-chain. That removes the trust out of this equation. So we see that type of effort here. And also we've seen legislation pass in different places, especially in the United States. Like Wyoming is now, from my understanding, allowing DAOs to turn into LLCs or file as LLCs. So basically this means a decentralized autonomous organization could be a recognized company. Maybe they could own property, maybe they could pay taxes. Maybe they could do all this type of stuff, right? Maybe they could hold other companies. So anyways, today we announced that ShapeShift is decentralizing. So they're saying unorthodox, but is the only way to maintain fidelity to the most important principles of crypto, specifically self-sovereignty over money. Without that principle upheld, we're just, LARPing, so live action role playing. So just faking it is what they're saying. So a thread. ShapeShift has been a centralized company for 7 years. We pioneered the self-custody revolution, so basically allowing you to hold onto your own cryptocurrency without somebody else controlling it. Enabling people to trade assets without counterparty risk. That's the fancy way of saying what I just said. It has been our goal to protect users while making self-custody easy and fun. So they have investors on board, all that type of stuff, all the normal stuff you'd think with a big company. He's saying the corporate model is standard for all economic organizations at scale. Every company is structured this way, plan to be an IPO or, acquired, all that type of stuff. But what he's saying is, if you're familiar with the fourth turning paradigm, you may understand that the organizational format that succeeded during the industrial age may not be the optimal format for the digital age. So what he's saying is, if we are at this sort of like turning point in society, when we move from one age to another, that the old model may not be the best model for this new paradigm that we're kind of entering into. So what he's saying is they're betting on that. And so they're saying there's a new kind of firm. This is the DAO, the decentralized autonomous organization that I'm talking about. So DAOs are emerging from their trough of disillusionment. So if you're familiar with it's called the Gartner hype cycle. So basically, like people get really excited about, and then I'll just show you. Like people get really excited about it, and then the interest wanes, and then it starts to like actually take, start to actually have sustained attention. So what he's saying is basically the hype cycle for DAOs have basically done this. So if you look here, like this is the Gartner hype cycle, where basically people get really excited about something and then they stop becoming excited, and then it kind of like gets this sustained interest over time. That's what it is. You see that with cryptocurrencies, you see that with NFTs, you see it with DAOs, all that type of stuff. And what he's saying is we're starting to get onto this. They're getting out of this trough of disillusionment. That's what this is right here. So the trough of disillusionment, and we're kind of like, he's saying like they're kind of on this upward trajectory. And they're dynamic. They're non-jurisdictional. They are shockingly powerful. They have no center. They rely on no bank account. They demonstrate anti-fragile emergent order. So it's pretty crazy. And this is a big company, okay? This is big risk. This is big skin in the game. This is not just like some college dudes in their bedroom, like with laptops and a startup or something like that, creating a DAO that's going to manage, cryptocurrencies for a DeFi app. This is a big established crypto company taking a big step in this direction. So I'm excited to see what comes out of this. I don't think this is the last person we'll see to create a DAO in this space. And I think that we're going to learn a lot from this particular company. And this really opens up the potential for what we can do with this technology long term. So let's see here. Somebody says front-end skills equal to smart contract skills. The front-end skills are like building a user interface. So typically when you're building a user interface in DeFi, you're building a web application, like a website that's like smart and has behavior. And so typically you want to know JavaScript for that type of thing. That's where Python's not going to help you as much as JavaScript would. What's the difference in coding an NFT versus a regular token? There's some differences. It's a different type of token, first of all, and then you need to kind of do more for an NFT because you need to put the images somewhere. You don't want to put the images on a blockchain, and the best way to do it is a decentralized image storing solution like IPFS, for example. So another thing I want to talk about, some stats for ETH that were pretty crazy. So in Q2, my apologies, Q2 2021, Ethereum settled $2.5 trillion in transactions. Okay. This represents 65% quarter-over-quarter growth and 1,490% year-over-year growth, and puts Ethereum on pace to settle $8 trillion in 2021. Okay, so we'll see if that pace slows down because of what's happening with the crypto markets right now. If this number will, by definition, decrease if the activity stays the same because the value of the assets they're transferring will likely decrease, assuming they're not in stable coins. But he's saying the large driver of this growth is be DeFi and stablecoin activity. So part of this is stablecoins. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. I mean, that's a pretty impressive growth. One thing that sticks out to me on this, well, first of all, just the massive growth in utility value for Ethereum, making this like just it's crazy to how can you ignore this? The other thing is stablecoins. So one thing that makes me pretty optimistic about this entire space long term, like I said, I don't know what's going to happen short term with the price. Could we drop 50% from here? We could, but what makes me optimistic about this space long term is that people are going to stable coins. All right. So a lot of people, sure, they're going to cash out, go to cash and say, bye, I'm never coming back to crypto again. But a lot of people are not done with crypto. They don't want to bag hold into the ground, right? But they're staying in stable coins. So you have a lot of people who are still here. They're still in crypto. They're just not holding on to volatile assets. All right. And so I think what's happening is a lot of those people are sitting here looking at these charts, right? Looking, they're smarter than the average Joe, and they know this looks like it could, leg down further, especially with the Bitcoin price. Let's look at Bitcoin. So you're looking at the Bitcoin price, going like, yeah, this looks like it could kind of just puke its guts out and drop another, 30, 40, 50%. And then that's when they're going to see it as a screaming buying opportunity because the risk reward changes. All right. So really smart investors understand risk reward pretty inherently in the sense of so risk reward is basically how many units of something do you risk and how many do you stand to gain. All right. So basically if you invest a risk reward ratio, if you're talking about just Bitcoin's price history right now, the risk reward ratio is you're risking, a significant amount of a unit. It's probably not going to go to zero, but you only stand to gain 1 unit based on its price history. Now, the risk reward ratio for Bitcoin was very different back here. If you bought Bitcoin down here, at $5,000, there's a pretty good chance that Bitcoin was not going to go much lower than that, right? And you had a price history of Bitcoin being $20,000 and lots of price history of Bitcoin being about, $7, $8, $9, $10,000. Okay. So right here, pretty smart people are knowing that we don't have a lot of price history of Bitcoin above $30,000. So they're not thinking this is a screaming buy. So if Bitcoin dumped another 50% and got down to $20,000, and they're thinking maybe that's the opportunity because you could get a 3x up to $60,000 and not just like a 2. So, but the whole point I'm trying to make, to me, it's still bullish because a lot of them are sitting in stable coins. They're not cashed out into fiat off exchanges into their bank accounts. Like they're in crypto. They're just not in volatile assets. It says once they're stable, they'll go into savings and lending platforms like Celsius. Even during a bear market, these platforms might hold up well. I think it's true. We'll have to see what happens to savings rates in the bear market. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Because part of the thing that gives good savings rates are people basically taking out loans on their side. If people aren't wanting to do a lot of loans, then maybe the savings rates will go down. So somebody asked me a question. They said, let's say I wanted to watch the fear and greed index when it goes below 15 and trigger a reaction. What do I need to learn to have it watch that indicator and communicate back? That's a good question. So this is a programming question. I'll answer it here. Bitcoin fear and greed index. I would just go to... you can just go to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index website here. So we actually check on that metric where it is right now. So it's at a 20. So we're in extreme fear territory. So I don't know if they have an API for this. So an API is basically a way that you can consume web information without having to go to the website. You can just write a program that like pulls information from a website. I don't know if they have that. I mean, you could write a screen scraper that like goes to this website and pulls a number off, but this is an image, so I don't know how. You can find the now. So this will give you the number 20 right here. So you can write a bot that just like scrapes this data. I mean, scraping's like kind of gray hat. Like it violates a lot of websites' terms and services, so I wouldn't like necessarily do this for a commercial product. Anyways, you could just like, if they have an API, it's the best way to do it, but you could just pull this number off. You want to make sure it's reliable before you execute any kind of trades. But if you're talking about buying cryptocurrency when it drops below a certain value, you pull that information in, you write a bot. If you're going to do it with Bitcoin, like you can't really trade Bitcoin on a DEX, so you could do it on like any centralized exchange that offers API access. You could do it on Coinbase, for example, and just write a bot that like looks for that and then executes buy orders on Coinbase. Now, there's lots of risks associated with that. If people steal your API keys for your bot, then they could steal your crypto funds. So you gotta be careful about that. Let's see here. All right, let's answer one more question. Theoretically, could you earn NFTs or crypto from playing a blockchain game, like playing World of Warcraft? Instead of gold, you earn crypto. So that's actually a trend that people are starting to experiment with right now, is basically play to earn. And if that model ends up working, then like that's going to be a game changer. Like if you can create crypto games where you get paid to play, like this is what I'm talking about. Like if we create these new things that you can do with crypto that you can't do anywhere else, and then you find out that like, oh my gosh, like I played a game and made money, or I played a game and made a lot of money, or like I got this new yield farm and made like a crazy amount because they have these liquidity mining incentives on a layer 2, or like I got airdropped, you know, like thousands of dollars in tokens on a layer 2 because I went and used the app there. Like this is the kind of stuff that goes viral and then brings people back into space, and they're like, oh my gosh, like it's happening again. And then you'll basically have people go chase these tokens because they need them for yield farming. That creates buying pressure on the tokens. Like if you need tokens to participate in the game, to get paid to play, that's going to put buying pressure on those tokens. And it's just like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like this is where I get so excited, is when everybody else is like scared, embarrassed in the space and saying everything's going away, when we have a crazy slew of new things that are getting created. So I don't promise any like timelines on how long that's going to take for people to kind of, jump on the space. I make no promises about what projects are going to be successful, what's going to fail. But I guess what I'm saying is the next catalysts are here. It's just going to take some time for them to basically ignite. I'll put it that way. All right, everybody. That's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so the more people learn about blockchain. If you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You go to my YouTube homepage. You find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a massive shortcut entirely, actually become a blockchain master step-by-step from start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. Help people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.